Hello, Tom. How are you?
Hey, Chris. I'm here, and I
Thank
hear you
God.
now.
Thank God. I am so sorry, Tom. I believe it was on my end, so I apologize for the audio issues here.
Yeah, I was a little afraid that I was doing something wrong over here, but I think you identified what the issue was.
Yes, they did. And you know what? Even though I've been doing this for 5 years, almost 500 episodes, sometimes things happen with technology at some point.
That's the way it works. You are a slave to the technology of the world these days, and sometimes it works, and
Absolutely.
most of the time it does, but occasionally it bites us.
Absolutely. Tom, I want to say thank you so much for giving us some time out of your busy schedule for tonight for a little bit of time. And I wanted to ask you, how did your production meeting go? And what's a night like for you at the Enterprise Center before a Blues game day?
Well, we get here pretty early for the game here in St. Louis. We have a meeting 2 hours and 40 minutes before the game starts, actually, and that's the production meeting. Sometimes I'm asked to be in it, and other times not. I'll show you where I am here real quick. Up high here
Nice view.
in the suite. Yeah, it's a pretty good view. I kind of miss being down at ice level though. I got moved up to the press box area during the pandemic, and looks like we're going to be here for the duration now that we've proved that we PA announcers can actually do the job other than down by the ice. So, but anyway, answering your question, we have a meeting to discuss some of the particulars. If there's extra video or some announcements that are out of the ordinary that I need to make, we go over that. And then after that meeting breaks up, it's usually 20 minutes, 25, 30 minutes, something like that. We go have a little bite to eat, and usually at the food session, we can chat some more about some things that are coming up during the game. But usually it's just preparing, looking over the script. I usually work off of an iPad, so I don't have a paper script, but I do have a log that I have many pages of log that tells me the things that are coming up during the game. And then here I also, of course, have a lineup card, so I know all the horses in the race. And then I have a score sheet here that I keep the goals and the penalties and all the particulars as the game goes on. So it's just a matter of preparing, going over the any names that I might not be familiar with, and making sure I get the pronunciations right. So it's a lot of prep work.
So what time are you normally at the arena at on a game day, approximately?
Well, we've got a 7:00 game tonight, and I came in at right around 4:00. So 3 hours before the game, and then, like I said, usually we have, or sometimes we have a production meeting. Sometimes, and that's usually at 4:20. So a lot of time after that meeting to kind of get ready for things.
And it's also a big night too for the Blues. It's that Jake Neighbors bobblehead night at the arena. I see.
I saw boxes piled up in the concourse when I came into the building, and I asked the security guy, I said, "What are we giving away tonight?" And he goes, "Oh, it's that Jake Neighbors bobblehead." He's, I guess, wearing the Winter Classic sweater, and so I'm sure the place will be packed because bobblehead nights are usually a pretty big deal for most of the fans.
Have they done one for you yet?
No, they haven't done one for me. Although I will tell you this, I do PA announcing for the Gateway Grizzlies minor league baseball team during the summer months, and I've kind of told them that I'm going to retire from doing that after this coming season. So they're planning on a bobblehead night on the season opener for that in May. So kind of looking forward to see how that bobblehead turns out. A lot of white hair on it, I'm sure, probably.
I'm getting it too. I'm 52 now. I was just thinking, Tom, it's been 3 years since you were last on my show. Hard to believe.
Wow. So that was a pandemic era show. Huh? I guess time flies, man. Yeah, that doesn't seem like that long ago.
Absolutely. And the Detroit Red Wings are in St. Louis, I believe, next week on December 23rd. And I was just talking to Ken Kell, their radio guy, and I said I missed the old rivalry between the St. Louis Blues and the Detroit Red Wings.
Yeah, that was a good one. And on our first podcast with Kelly Chase, we talked about the big Detroit Blues brawl back in '93, where Shovelday and Curtis Joseph, the goalies, fought at center ice, and Kelly Chase and Jim Cummins and Bob Probert and all the Blues guys were out having a line brawl at the beginning of that game. And I probably told you the story where Probert was put in the penalty box. He was the first one in the penalty box and tried to go up into the stands after some fans, and I made the mistake of grabbing him by the trunks and trying to pull him back into the penalty box. And he looked at me and said, "You don't want to do that, man." You're right. You're right, Proby. I made a terrible mistake there. So that was my Blues Red Wings experience from long ago.
Absolutely. And Tom, I'm going to get to some questions because I know you got to get ready for the game tonight against a very good New Jersey Devils team at 7 o'clock.
Right.
Can you tell us about your new podcast show, the St. Louis Blues Hockey Legends, and how did this all come about, Tom?
Well, I've been looking for an idea that I thought worked for me for doing a podcast for some time. I used to be a day-to-day broadcaster for a long time here in St. Louis, and I got out of that to start teaching communications at the college level back in 2011, I guess it was. And so I kind of had the itch to get back into some form of broadcasting. And obviously, podcasting these days has become a big thing. So, but I needed the right idea. And I had a conversation with Bruce Affleck, who runs the Blues Alumni Association recently. And I said, "What do you think about doing a podcast, and calling it St. Louis Blues Legends, and talk about the stories of some of the guys who were important, guys and gals actually, important to the team from several decades ago, back in the 20th century, and making sure their stories stay alive for younger fans." And he was all supportive of that idea. And so I've worked for the last few months, getting my podcast act together, I guess, a little bit, and getting some graphics put together from some of my graphics friends. And I wanted to do it professionally if I was going to do it. And so I've had the first three podcasts recorded now. With first one with Kelly Chase, who you may know is battling leukemia these days, and he's doing real well with that. But I wanted to have him on while he was healthy enough to tell some stories. He's going to go through chemo and a stem cell transplant here pretty soon to hopefully get him back on track. Then I went with Keith Kachuk with my second podcast, and just last night I recorded one with Bruce Affleck, who's been with the team for 40 years or so. And so I guess getting back to your question, I started rambling a little bit, but getting back to your question, I just thought it was time to try to save the stories of some of the people who were important to Blues history. And I like the idea. People that I've talked to have liked the idea, and so we're going to run with it. See if it has wings, and hopefully might make a buck or two.
I've already listened to a couple episodes. Your opening one by yourself and the one with Keith Kachuk. Just thoughts on the episode with Keith Kachuk that you did recently as well.
Well, he's got a couple of kids playing in the NHL right now, and we talked about that a little bit. But mostly it was about him and his history, playing at Boston University and getting drafted by the Winnipeg Jets, who then moved to Phoenix. And we talked about his trade from Phoenix to St. Louis and how I approached him on his first game here in St. Louis. And I said, I've got an idea what I'd like to do when you score a goal, or do something big. I said, I've got an idea how I'd like to treat your name. And he said, well, what do you mean? I said, well, your name kind of screams out for special treatment. And he said, well, how would you do it? I said, well, Blues goal scored by number 7, Keith Kachuk. And he said, that sounds great. Go for it. So that's become one of my favorite names to announce over the years that I've been doing it. And it's, in fact, I go out in public sometimes and people will ask me, can you do the Keith Kachuk goal call? So it's been a lot of fun. But yeah, we talked about that. And, you know, his role with the Blues now, he's director of scouting, so he's on the road a little, not director of scouting, but director of recruitment, which involves some scouting. But, you know, he's just a great guy and tells stories very easily, so it was a natural to have him on.
Is Chris Pronger still with the Blues organization?
I don't have a definite answer for that. I don't think he has an official role right now. We see him quite a bit around here at the Enterprise Center. In fact, he was here a couple games ago, and I had a short chat with him. But I don't think he has an official role at this time. But there's always been talk of bringing him back in and having some sort of role officially with the team.
Hopefully, maybe one day he could be a guest along with Brendan Shanahan. The Blues organization franchise has so many star players, so I'm looking forward to continue to subscribe and watch and listen to your shows.
Well, I appreciate that, Chris. Yeah, Brendan Shanahan was here too the last time the Maple Leafs were in town, and I had a short chat with him. And I said, you remember when you played Shanty Claus for the Christmas party when the Blues had you dress up like Santa Claus back? That was at the old arena. That was before this building was even here. My kids were very small then, and the Blues always had a Christmas party, and they had Brendan Shanahan dress up as Santa Claus and bring the kids on his lap. And my son's got a big kick out of that. And we called him Shanty Claus for a while after that. And I reminded him of that. And he said, yeah, that was a good memory from a long time ago. I said, well, there you go. I'm glad I brought up the memory of Shanty Claus for Brendan Shanahan, who's gone on to great things. And I'm happy for him and his role with the Maple Leafs.
And can I get your quick thoughts on former Blues head coach Craig Berube, who's now with the Maple Leafs under Shanahan?
Oh, yeah, sure. Chief he's just always will be an icon here in St. Louis. I think many of us were really sorry to see him go, and I think the time was right for him to move on, looking back on it. But it was a really sad day, I think, for a lot of St. Louisans because he is directly connected to the first and only Stanley Cup that this city has ever enjoyed. And he became such a hero to so many people in this city because of the way he speaks and the way he conducts himself. He's a no-nonsense guy, as you realize, I'm sure. And just the kind of person who totally endeared himself to the fan base here in St. Louis. So it was really not a comfortable or happy day when he left the Blues. But we knew he'd be hired not long after leaving here. He was. I really wish him the best of luck in Toronto because you cannot find a better human being, in my opinion, than Craig Berube. And, you can only wish a guy like that the best.
Absolutely. Tom, you just recorded an episode last night with former Blues great Bruce Aslick. How did that interview go, and when is it going to be aired on all the platforms like Apple and Spotify?
Okay. We do a little promotion for a few days after I record one on social media, and we're working on that now, and we'll have some teasers out for the next few days. Looks like I lost you again, Chris. But
okay.
But we'll probably have that podcast available through Spotify and Apple and all the other platforms on Friday. So you can look for it on Friday. We upload it to our YouTube channel a few days later, so that'll probably be available on Monday.
How often do you record, Tom? Once a week, approximately?
We're doing bi-weekly at first, every couple of weeks, and that seems to be a good way to get things kicked off. If we feel like it needs to be more often than that, we might go weekly with it. But right now, we're trying to get things started on every other week.
Do you have any? Can you give us a little clue to some future possible guests that could come on in the next few weeks?
I actually can. John Kelly has agreed to come on. Of course, he's the TV voice of the Blues. He's agreed to come on. He might actually have his brother Dan with him when we do a podcast right after Christmas, talking about his legendary father, Dan Kelly, who's in the Hockey Hall of Fame. He was so important to Blues hockey when he came in and took over the radio broadcast for the Blues back in the late 60s and up until his passing in the 80s. But so that's one. Susie Matthew, who is one of the ladies who were the first. She was a groundbreaker as far as being an executive and high-level sports management with the Blues, and she is going to tell some Brett Hull stories. She was almost like a Brett Hull mother for a long time when Hully came to the Blues back in the 80s, and she's in the Blues Hall of Fame with the True Blue Award last year. So she's got a lot of stories to tell. I'm looking forward to visiting with her in January. And Joe Micheletti has agreed to come on probably late January, former Blues player, and of course now color man for the Rangers. And Bernie Federko has said he'd come on. Brett Hull, I've talked to about it. He's got some other things going on right now, but he's agreed to come on as well. So we'll have a nice lineup of people coming up in 2025.
Tom, if you've got a few more minutes, I just wanted to get your overall assessment on this 24-25 St. Louis Blues and their latest win, a 3-2 win over a very good New York Rangers team at home.
Yeah, I think the Blues are kind of playing out the scenario that Doug Armstrong, the general manager, put out before the season. He said, we are a young team that's growing and we may have a chance to make the playoffs this year. He said that we're working towards that idea. And I think with the Cam Fowler trade they just completed here the other day, I think they're making the effort to get back into the playoffs this year. They're young. They've got a lot of young people in the wings waiting to come on board. They've got a kid, Dalibor Dvorsky, down in Springfield at their AHL team that's tearing it up down there. He's a first-round draft pick last year, and they're really excited about him and two or three other young people who are playing minor league hockey or junior hockey at this point. They got Jimmy Snuggerud at Minnesota, who's possibly going to be on the team by the end of this season. We don't know that, of course. That's up to him. But I think that the team is playing itself out pretty much like everybody expected. A decent roster, a good bunch of young people who need some maturity before they can be a consistent playoff team. But we're kind of hoping that they sneak into the playoffs by the time the season ends.
Being here in Guelph, Ontario, I cover a lot of the OHL or follow the OHL, and the St. Louis Blues songs in the background.
Yeah,
I wanted to ask.
They just opened the doors to the building, so it's going to get noisy in here pretty soon.
Okay, awesome. I wanted to ask you about former Guelph Storm Alexei Torachenko, who helped Guelph win an OHL championship. How has he done with the Blues?
Well, Torachenko has a motor that never stops. He's a hard-working player. He's a big kid, as you know. He's 6'6", 6'5", something like that. And I think he's going to be a real significant cog in the machine for a long time here. They moved him up to the second line. He's going to be a second-line player tonight. He has been playing on the fourth line, but He's earned a spot to get up there further in the lineup and see what he can do offensively too. So I really like him. Everybody seems to really like the guy, both personally and professionally as a player, and I think he's got a bright future here in St. Louis.
There's another Blue player I saw play in the OHL with the Sarnia Sting, Jordan Kyrou. How has he adjusted to being in the National Hockey League with the Blues?
Well, if you've followed his story at all, he's had some ups and downs. He's uh, a highly talented offensive player. I think they've been trying to get him more to focus on his 200-foot game and um, play a little more on the defensive side of the puck. And that's been coming along really well this year. He's leading the team in goals once again. I think he's got 13 at this point. Let me check my roster. Yeah, 13 goals, and he he has really impressed Jim Montgomery, the new coach here in St. Louis, with his play recently. And if he can figure out that 200-foot game thing, I think we're going to have a budding superstar in Jordan Kyrou.
Quick thoughts on Jim Montgomery and the coaching staff. And I noticed Mike Babcock's son, Michael Babcock, is with the Blues as well as a coach.
Right. Yeah, he's on the coaching staff, and not to be confused with his dad, of course. The young Mr. Babcock has his own career going, and Jim Montgomery, of course, was an assistant here before he went to Boston, and was down in Dallas before that. But it's amazing when he came to take over, and nothing against Drew Bannister, but the Blues were just kind of up and down so far in the season, and Drew Bannister, I think everybody feels badly that he got let go after the short time he was head coach. But when Jim Montgomery became available, it was obvious that Armstrong wanted to bring him in, and he did, and it was amazing. It was like a switch was thrown with the roster because right off the bat they started playing on their toes and seemed to be a much more energetic bunch out there on the ice, and it's been exciting to watch since Monty has taken over what the Blues have been doing. Yeah, they've had a few losses along the way, but most Blues fans, I think, are pretty pumped with the way things are going with Jim Montgomery leading the charge.
I was shocked when the Bruins let him go, but you know what? I think St. Louis made a wise decision in getting Jim Montgomery. And wanted to ask you this: what kind of an identity does he bring to the St. Louis Blues Hockey Club, and what are some keys to a Blues win tonight at the Enterprise Center against a very good New Jersey Devils team?
Well, there's two questions there. I'm not sure how to answer either one of them, but I'll take a shot at it. Jim Montgomery, I haven't really had a chance to meet him and have a conversation with him very often. Well, at all, actually. But from everything I gather from talking to other people, they say he just has a way of connecting with each player and laying out a plan for those players that makes sense for them and putting them in the right place in the lineup and being clear about what the expectations are for those people and staying in touch on a regular basis. Apparently communication is his strong suit, and he really goes the extra mile with each player to make sure they understand the relationship there. As far as beating the Devils tonight, that's going to be a tough challenge. They have a nice roster, and of course have a pretty good record going, 20-10-3 as I look at my score sheet. So the Blues had some success in New Jersey against them a few weeks ago. So whatever that formula was, I'm sure they're going to try to do it again.
And finally, Tom, we're going to wrap this up. What's a fun fact about yourself that the fans might not know about you, and a fun fact about the St. Louis Blues Hockey Club?
Oh boy, fun fact about me. I have done 1,704 consecutive games as the PA announcer for the St. Louis Blues.
That's amazing.
Well, I look at it a couple of different ways. I just showed up for work when I was expected to be there since 1987, and I like doing it. It's a lot of fun for me. It's kind of a sexy thing when you make an announcement and 20,000 people get up on their feet and and scream. It's not a bad job to have. If you're going to do it for 40 almost 40 years, that's a pretty good one to have. A fun fact about the Blues, um, I think, is their fan base and how loyal it is. Um, I'm always amazed at whether the team is good or whether the team is not so great. How well supported the Blues are here in St. Louis. And I think it's a lot because the Blues management over time has made an effort to connect with not just season ticket holders, but casual fans and people who may not be dyed in the wool hockey people. They do a lot of things that outreach into the community, the underprivileged parts of our community, perhaps, and all the people who may or may not be big hockey supporters all the time are always brought into the fan base because of the outreach that the Blues have. And I don't know if that's a fun fact necessarily, but that's what came to mind.
Any plans for a book in the future, Tom, about your career?
I've actually got one written, Chris, but I haven't gotten around to put it out yet. It's the idea I had with it was uh, a series of tips for people who want to do public address announcing. And so I put together the book based on that. But then I also included a bunch of my stories from the past at the end of it. So I've got it written. It's just a matter of following through and getting it out there someday. And I probably might make it for sale on my website as an ebook here sometime soon.
And Tom, before we wrap this up, where can my audience follow you on social media and your website, and when your next episode of the St. Louis Blues Hockey Legends podcast is going to air?
Okay, well, at PA Guy Tom is my Twitter handle, X handle, I guess it is now. Um, you can also follow me on Facebook. The St. Louis Blues Hockey Legends has a Facebook page as well. Um, I've got a website, paguytom.com. And if you go to St. Louis Blues hockeylegends.com, it connects to my website at this point as well. So, I'm on all the social media platforms. You can find me there. And the next podcast, as I mentioned earlier, with Bruce Affleck is coming out on Friday. So I hope maybe some of your regular listeners will take a listen and share the news about that being available.
And I will do my best to promote your shows, and I look forward to listening to your latest episode. And also, where can they, if they want to get a cameo from you, where can they find you on Cameo?
Oh yeah, I'll probably do a few of those before Christmas rolls around next week. Cameo.com/PA Guy Tom is the web address for that. And, I get a few bucks for each one, and I try to send some of that to charity. So if people want a Christmas greeting for their family, somebody in their family that might be a hockey fan, or birthday greeting and congratulations on the new job, whatever it might be, I'm happy to do that for Blues fans or hockey fans.
Well, Tom, I want to say thank you so much for giving us a half an hour of your time before the Blues Devils game at 7 o'clock Central Time. And I apologize for the audio issue; it was on my end. And thank you again for being so patient with me. And you have an open invite to come back on my show again in the future.
Appreciate it, Chris. I almost hung up on you, but I'm glad we worked things out. And best of luck to you on your end as well, and in your future endeavors. I appreciate the time with you.
Well, thank you so much. And I'm going on 5 years and 500 episodes, and I really enjoy doing this show. And it's always about the guests and the storytelling aspect of it.
Yeah, that's how I approach my podcast as well, and hopefully I can get 500 episodes in somewhere along the line. That would be great.
Well, you can count me in as a subscriber, and continued success with your new podcast. And I will get back to St. Louis one day and get to a Blues game at the Enterprise Center.
Look me up when you do. I'll be
I will,
happy.
Tom.
Appreciate it.
I
Thanks,
will.
Chris.
And I want to wish you and your family a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Tom.
And you, all you folks up there in the Great White North, I appreciate you very much. I loved it the last time I was in Toronto. That was way back in 2007, I think it was. Great area, and I love that area up there. And Merry Christmas to all you folks as well.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Tom, and have a great game call tonight on the mic.
I'll give it my best shot. Thanks, Chris.
You too. Take care, Tom.
Take care.
You too. All right, guys, that wraps up season 9, episode 28, 468 of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show with my guest, Tom Calhoun, a longtime public address announcer for the St. Louis Blues since 1987. And I guess he's done 1,704 consecutive hockey games with the Blues. He's not missed a game since taking over as their PA announcer in 1987. And again, I want to apologize to everybody for the audio issues the first 9 minutes tonight. That was on my end, and it's a learning experience. So before we wrap this up, guys, I want to make an announcement. The next Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, again, sponsored by BarryCollin.com and WellingtonBrewery.ca, is going to be tomorrow, Wednesday, December 18th at 7 p.m. Eastern with my special guest, Gwen Factor. She is a stand-up comedian out of the District of Columbia, Maryland, Virginia area as well. We're going to talk to Gwen Factor, that's her comedy name, about how she got into the comedy industry and some of her live upcoming performances as well. And I'm going to play a video clip again of Wellington Brewery. I don't think it aired the first few minutes because of the audio issues, and we're going to play it right now. And Wellington Brewery is one of the official sponsors of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show. So I'm going to play this video clip now, and hopefully the audio works.
I'm Brent Davies, owner of Wellington Brewery. I'd like to show you something special. To me, beer is best the first day it's packaged. And we looked into some different things, and we thought, what do we do well with beer is we brew it well, and the next thing our process was packaging. So we decided to look at some different packaging companies around. We got some quotes, and then we decided to go with Crohn's. We went with Crohn's because they've got what we think is the best packaging systems in the world. And from there, we went with a combination unit that can do in-house. We can do cans and bottles.
My name is Justin Delandria. Right now we're running the bottling line, so it's completely automated. So the bottles travel onto the line and into the labeler and then onto the filler. So the bottles travel in and they get the first label put on and do a series of rotations to make sure the label is properly pressed against the bottle. And then it travels towards the second label where we can fine tune the heights of both labels to make sure they look perfect on the bottle. So when we're looking for the perfect label, we're looking to see that the front label is matched up directly with the back label. And the causing machine is amazing that we can easily fine tune, adjust where the height sits to make sure that the bottles come out perfectly from the labeler. So when the bottles travel into the filler, they first go through a CO2 purge. So it purges all the oxygen from the container, as oxygen is a beer spoiler. So it'll purge that oxygen with CO2 and let it settle, and then fill and push out the CO2 with beer. And when it's full of beer, it travels towards the crown's capper.
I'm Marvin Dick, and I'm the brewmaster here at Wellington Brewery. I oversee quality, packaging, and brewing. And now we're going to look at our canning line. These cans are very open on the top, and they run along the line. So you can get a little bit of dust or whatever into the can. So we make sure we rinse them before we send them into the can filler. So this machine just shoots them with water to make sure that they're clean on the inside. Canning machine from Crohn's. For instance, I can tell every single filling valve, all 24 of them, what that particular one has filled. So it constantly updates. I can see the last 3 revolutions, and it gives me that data that I want. I can move over to my production screen, and that gives me the speed I'm going at, the CO2 that's going in, all of this information that's vital to the quality of the product that we're trying to produce. I can get all of my valves that are in play, the level in the bowl, temperature, pressures, everything that I need to make sure that our product is the highest quality it can possibly be. It's just looking at it and it's x-raying the can to make sure that it's at the proper fill level that corresponds to what the canner itself says. And if, for some reason, it's not at that standard, then there's a reject machine that's tied into all of the other facets that will then reject that can. Another aspect of the integration and the sophistication of this Crohn's machine is this unit here, which will give us the count on the cans. It'll tell us how many rejects there's been, and the data from the check mat. So it's going to give us any information on the readout here on the screen that we need to know in terms of our quality control checks for our cans. So from this angle, it's easy to see how Crohn's was able to integrate everything together. So it looks very simple, but this is a lot of different moving parts in a very small footprint. And they did a fantastic job of using the space that we had and making it all work together with all the different pieces.
That clip was courtesy of Crohn's YouTube channel, and that was from Wellington Brewery. And speaking of Wellington Brewery, founded in 1985, they're located at 950 Woodlawn Road West here in Guelph, Ontario. WellingtonBrewery.ca is their website. You can call them at 519-837-2337. Try a Wellion. Please remember to drink responsibly. They have the Christmas Lager Mix Pack is your go-to gift or party flavor for a truly refreshing holiday. It's packed with premium lagers. This mix includes our year-round classic, the smooth Golden Helles Lager and the easy drinking Boot Light Lager, plus a special seasonal treat, Crispy Forever. These crisp, clean brews are uniquely crafted for a balance of flavor, low alcohol, and ultimate refreshments, making this mix approachable for any crowd. This festive six-pack is as handsome, like myself, as it is convenient, perfect for sharing at parties or gifting to beer lovers in your life, especially at Christmas time. So again, check out Wellington Brewery at 950 Woodlawn Road here in Guelph, Ontario. The Wellington Brewery's holiday hours, December 24th, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. December 25th, closed. December 31st, 11 to 3 p.m. and January 1st closed as well. So again, try a Wellion and please remember to drink responsibly as well. And a special thank you to Jackie Hanna from Wellington Breweries for being the official beer sponsor of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show. If you're looking to adopt a pet, check out the Cambridge and District Humane Society at 1650 Dunbar Road here in Cambridge, Ontario. Telephone number 519-623-7722, extension 0. And you can visit their website at cambridgehumanesociety.org. All the pets that are up for adoption, you can go through their website, cambridgehumanesociety.org. And they're also doing a monthly 50-50 raffle where you can buy tickets. Click on their website, click on events. And also, if you're looking to volunteer down at the Cambridge District Humane Society in 2025, like myself, you can fill out a volunteer application through their website, again, cambridgehumanesociety.org. And I'm also selling 2025 Cambridge District Humane Society calendars for $10 cash only, or you can PayPal me at cpomay19@gmail.com. That's cpomay19@gmail.com through PayPal, or they're $10 cash, and the money goes to the programs at the Cambridge District Humane Society as well. Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, again, is live streamed on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter /X, Twitch, LinkedIn, and now available on Instagram. You can check out my website at beacons.ai/Chris D. Pomay. Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, again, is sponsored by Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership at 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Guelph Auto Mall. Check out barrycollin.com for their newest selection of new and pre-owned GM vehicles, along with their great selection of all-electric vehicles and Cadillac products as well. You can call the dealership at 519-824-0210 or email them at info@barrycollin.com. Speaking of Barry Collin Chevrolet, it is winter now. Winter tires help keep you safe on the road. You can get up to $120 in instant rebates with the purchase of a set of 4 new tires. Rebates vary by manufacturer. This offer expires on December 31st. More details at barrycollins.com. Live with CDP t-shirts are coming soon. I'm doing a pre-order to see how many people are interested. The shirts are $20 and they come in sizes large, extra large, and double extra large, and any color. So if you're interested in one, please DM me on social media as well. I am a content creator. You guys can check me out on TikTok at Live with CDP and make sure you hit that follow notification. StreamYard, again, is the official live stream provider of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show. If you're into webinars or podcasting, check out StreamYard.com. And they do have business plans. Just contact StreamYard.com and their sales department for pricing. And I've been with StreamYard now for over 4 years, and I highly recommend them for live streaming or a webinar. Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show. The audio version is available on these platforms: iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Spotify for podcasters, Apple Podcasts, Breaker, Pocket Cast, Spotify, Castbox, LinkedIn, Pandora, Tuned In, YouTube Music, and Good Pods. Make sure you hit those subscribe notifications. Finally, guys, you can email Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show at cpomay19@gmail.com. And also, guys, I am on Cameo now. If you'd like a personalized video message from yours truly, type in cameo.com and type in Chris Pomay, and I'd be happy to do a personalized video. And the proceeds from those videos will go to my radio and media work as well. And that's about it, guys. And also, if you're looking to become a guest on my show and you have a story you would like to share on Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show or the Small Talk podcast with Marlene Sharp and myself, you can contact me at cpomay19@gmail.com if you have a story you'd like to share on the Small Talk podcast or the Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show as well. And there is my Cameo profile, cameo.com/Chris Pomay, if you are interested in booking a cameo with me today. And finally, guys, next Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, Season 9, Episode 29, again brought to you by Barry Collin Chevrolet and Wellington Brewery here in Guelph, will be Wednesday, December 18th at 7 p.m., which is tomorrow night, with special guest Gwen Factor, a stand-up comedian out of the DMV area, which is the District of Columbia, Maryland, and Virginia area as well. And again, I want to apologize to everyone, including my guest Tom Calhoun, for the audio issues the first 9 minutes of tonight's show. That was on me, which is a learning experience. I'm going to make sure it doesn't happen again. And I want to say thank you to Tom Calhoun from the St. Louis Blues for coming on tonight and giving us over 30 minutes and talking about his new podcast show, the St. Louis Blues Hockey Podcast Show, which is going to be a bi-weekly show, and it's on all major social media platforms, including YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, etc. So check it out. Tom has been the St. Louis Blues in-game arena voice, the public address announcer since 1987, and he's not missed one game since then. 1,704 games. He is the Cal Ripken of public address announcers, and I'm really lucky to have him on the show tonight. And he just recorded a show last night with former St. Louis Blues defenseman Bruce Affleck, and that show should be airing soon. He's done a couple shows already with former Blues legends Kelly Chase and Keith Tkachuk, who is the father of Matthew Tkachuk, who won a Memorial Cup with the London Knights in 2016 as well. Again, thank you to Barry Collin Chevrolet and Wellington Brewery here in Guelph for sponsoring live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show. And I hope everybody has a great night. I'm going to try to check out the Blues game against New Jersey tonight at 8 o'clock here, 7 in St. Louis. And I'm looking forward to my next show tomorrow with Gwen Factor, a stand-up comedian. I hope everybody has a great night. And this show will also be available on Stream Punk Entertainment, courtesy of Scott Churchson as well. I hope everybody has a great evening, and we'll see you back here tomorrow night at 7 o'clock with Gwen Factor, stand-up comedian. Have a great night, everybody, and thanks for watching and listening to Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show.